Welcome back to my channel, everybody. I am RL Malpica, the Eat Coach, Natural Health and Diet Specialist. And today we're going to look at nature for a kind of a snapshot of what we're supposed to eat as humans. I think we can all agree that, when it comes to the development of the body from birth to maturity, breast milk is the optimal food to get us from, let's say, point A to point B, right? And when I say maturity, I'm not saying maturity like as a 21-year-old. I'm saying as far as the main source of building the structure of our bodies. And if you look at breast milk, if you go to nature and you look at mammals and the breast milk that specific animals eat, it in a way gives you a snapshot of what we are supposed to eat from a macronutrient perspective. But before we dive into that, make sure you hit my subscribe button in the lower right hand corner so you can get updates on when I do videos on natural health and diet. So look, I made a few videos on fat and protein recently, received some interesting feedback from individuals. So I wanted to dive into it a little bit deeper, right? So obviously, you know me, I live on a majority frugivore diet, which is going to be fruits, leafy greens, a little bit of nuts, a little bit of seeds. And to me, that is the optimal diet. That is the diet that was from a natural perspective, the diet that we're supposed to eat, right? So looking at mammals, looking at the breast milk of a few different types of animals. So we're going to look at a lion. We're going to look at a gorilla. We're going to look at a cow, and we're going to look at a human. All right. So let's start with the lion. All right. So a lion, if you break down the composition of a lion's breast milk, it's 15% carbs, 55% fat, and 30% protein, which if you look at what a lion and the cat species eat, is very much in alignment with being a carnivore, right? The high fat, the high protein, low carbohydrates. All right. Now, if you shift over and we look at a cow, all right. So a cow's breast milk is roughly about 37% carbohydrates. Let me see here. It's 37% fat, 26% protein. All right. So if you look at the composition of the cow and what they eat, that is in alignment as well. So some might say, well, where does a cow get fat from? Well, we're talking about breast milk. We're talking about the development of the cow. This is the building of the structure of the cow. And cows have the ability to the carbs that they eat, or their body's ability to convert it into fat as well, right? So very balanced, but mostly carbs, but a decent amount of protein, a decent amount of fat. All right. So then you look at the gorilla. The gorilla, 55% carbs. Okay. 35% fat, 10% protein. All right. 55, 35, 10. If you look at what gorillas eat and what their optimal diet is, it is of a frugivore nature. Okay. Now, is that to say that they won't eat an insect or something like that? Look, a whole nother video about survival and about living in survival consciousness versus humans, completely different. But their optimal diet, their main diet is that of a frugivore diet. All right. So now if you look at humans, human breast milk mirrors that of gorilla breast milk. 55% carbs, 35% fat, and 10% protein. Okay. Now, some may say, well, that's a lot of fat. What about the 80-10-10? Right. We're talking about development. We are talking about the building process of the body from birth and a rapid growth rate very quickly. Like you go from, depending on how big you are as a baby, anywhere from 4 to 5 pounds to 10 pounds. And then you start to double that and you start to grow exponentially, right? And what do you need to grow? Like that's where the excess fat comes into play, right? You're building your body Okay. But once we hit a certain age, we stop growing. So the need for that excess fat is diminished immensely. So once again, if you look at nature, it will give you the answers that you need. And that's what I've been trying to implore to all of you. Turn off the TV, right? The turn off your mind for a second, right? Because our minds sometimes make us overanalyze things. Okay? Man is always trying to outsmart nature, but nature will give you the answers to everything you need. So if you look at the breast milk of mammals, and you can go down the list of the mammals, you're going to see that it is going to fall in alignment, not, maybe not exactly with what they eat as a mature mammal, but from development and as a baby all the way to adulthood, you're going to see those ratios fall into place. Carbs, fat, then protein, right? And like I said, when we're talking about the development, that's where some of those numbers will be a little bit skewed on the human side. But regardless, carbs number one, right? We are a frugivore species in alignment with gorillas, right? Just some food for thought for everybody out there. So I hope that makes sense. I'd love to hear what you guys think. I'd love to, hey, if you don't agree with that, there's a huge carnivore diet, keto diet, caveman diet, they want to call it caveman diet, whatever they want to call it, a huge populace out there that watch a lot of my videos. If you guys want to respond, I would love to have a dialogue with you and dive even deeper into it. But the truth is, when you look at nature, when you look at mammals, when you look at the breast milk of mammals, ours align with the frugivore species, plain and simple. All right. So I hope you enjoyed this. I hope this sheds some light and help you out a little bit as far as making your dietary choices and understanding that yes, we can thrive on a frugivore diet because that's what we were built to eat. That's what we were physiologically constructed to consume. And the benefits and the ramifications and the consequences of doing so and adjusting and moving more towards that path are just endless and limitless, things that you wouldn't even believe, right? Why? Because it's in alignment with who we are. All right. Love all of y'all. Peace, love, and light. Make sure you give me a thumbs up if you resonate, even if you don't resonate. Let me know. Let's talk about it. All right. You guys be good.